Hi, I'm Noe from Firebase Release Notes Deep Dives. And today, before we dive deep, I just want to take a moment to tell you about something important. At the end of this month, I've decided to move on from this team as I've spent the last 2 years doing videos for the Firebase community, and I've absolutely loved it. And I'm about to hand off the baton to the next person. While at Firebase, there's so many things I could point out that were amazing and magical and...
Did you get an email recently telling you that the Gemini models you were using were being removed? That means you gotta go back and update all the places that use these model names. You could use a sed command to do that pretty easily, but then what happens if you misalign or accidentally change too many things? But that's just the start. You'll also have to update the app on the App Store and the Play Store. That's just extra overhead that you need to stay on top of. Now, what if I told you that you can skip redeployment to the App Store and Play Store if you use Firebase Remote Config, which enables you to update your apps instantly? Let's take a look at how to do that in 3 separate scenarios. First, you may be using a server-side framework like ADK or GenKit to run your inference. In that case, what you'll want to do is first set up your server config values in the Firebase console. To do that, go to the sidebar and select Remote Config. Then, click the drop-down at the top to switch the config from client to server. Then create your first parameter and select a default value and click Save. In your server-side code, using the Firebase admin SDK, fetch the server template using the following code. This grabs the model name parameter that you set in server-side remote config and fetches its value so your users can use the latest model you set without needing to redeploy your backends. Now, let's take a look at doing this for your client-side apps. Setting up remote config for client-side apps using Firebase AI logic is very similar to the server-side flow. You once again visit the remote config panel in the Firebase console. Instead of selecting server in the drop-down menu, just start adding your parameters and setting the default values. In your client-side code, fetch and activate remote config, get the string value for model_name, and then set that model in your getGenerative_model call. That's it. You may have heard of another way to configure models in Firebase AI logic. Let's take a look at that. There's also the option to use Firebase AI logic with server prompt templates. This is where your prompt and configuration are stored securely on Firebase servers. The only thing you send over when calling the Firebase AI logic API are the input parameters to be used in your prompt. Here, you can update the model by going to the AI Logic tab in the Firebase console, and then over to your prompt templates. Look at your configuration settings in the front matter of the prompt template and change the model value. Do that if you're in a pinch. Otherwise, the recommended best practice is to use remote config to send the template ID to the client. You can then create a new template and update your client apps through remote config. That's it for this month's deep dive. If you want to learn more about Firebase Remote Config to update your models or to update anything else in your app, please check out the documentation below. I am Alex, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Oh, I see you moved on. Bye.